Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Splattercat and welcome back to Splattermax Death Security Prison. It is another day and we are just taking our time getting some things done here and taking a look around. Now where we had left off, we were dealing with some housing problems, so we did need to get our secure housing unit up, so that's definitely a concern for the remainder of this episode. And then once that's in place, we can go ahead and we can start our workshop. So we're going to expand this fence out here. And once this fence is completely kind of surrounding everything, let me take a look. And as I recall, we were already building the fence. Yes, so it is queued up. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So once that's in place, we'll be able to make a big old workshop, which is going to bring in some more money, because right now our cash balance is not looking so good. $20,000 is not going to last us very long if we don't start kind of getting people taken care of. So we've got our workers here. They're moving our toilets into the rooms, which is good because we do not want our prisoners pooing on the floor, which is something that I get the feeling they would be all too happy to do just to get back at us, to get back at the man, namely Splattercat. And so this gentleman here appears to have struck his head on a toilet and is just bleeding out. Death by toilet seems like it might warrant a hilarious gravestone, like an epitaph that rhymed perhaps, maybe have a limerick. I don't know. This guy is sleeping with a knife at the foot of his bed. Which, not altogether the worst plan for surviving prison. Apparently everybody in my prison is holding a weapon. I don't know where they keep getting them from. Probably from the kitchen would be my best guess, because I only have a single door there. We're going to deal with that problem later. For now, we don't have a whole lot of extra time in which to do it, and they've left the potatoes on the floor, and also the cabbage. This is very unsanitary. I'm going to have to talk with their supervisors, which is myself, which means I'm going to have to talk to myself, and that's... Sadly, that's not altogether too strange of a thing to occur, but I'm going to blame it on the insanity and keep moving. So first things first, once these walls are in place, I'm going to go back through here, and we're going to wipe out that layer of fence, because frankly, we won't need it anymore. Actually, let me make sure. I'm going to be absolutely safe and make sure that one stays in place, because the last thing I want is to have a giant hole in my walls here. So once he gets that wall up and going, they should start tearing down some of this fencing. These two wonderful gentlemen down here are building our fence. And so, have all of our toilets been installed yet? Those are all blinking. Why are those all blinking? Let's take a look at our utilities here. They are all blinking because we have not run any piping. So let's run some pipes. So we'll take, I don't know the most efficient way to do this actually, but these all seem to line up with that pipe. So I'll just extend these out a tad maybe. There we go. There we are. And I guess this one's going to be a little more complicated, but we'll do that. And then from here, this is just a small extension this way, so we'll extend these out. And there we are. So, that should take care of the majority of our toiletry needs. We have a good half a day before more prisoners arrive. This is definitely feeling a lot more hectic than it used to with intake turned off. I will be completely honest. It's definitely a completely different ballgame. It is... I feel rushed. I do. I feel rushed at all times. So I don't feel like I can take a moment and kind of smell the prison roses, I guess. Oh, that sounds filthy. What the hell is a prison rose? I don't even know what I just defined. And apparently he's just going back through the gateways here. So maybe putting my hospital in this area was not the best idea. I was hoping that they could only pass between areas with an escort. That's unfortunate. But what I can do is I can send this guard over here and watch. Levers, this is kind of a workaround. He's having a wee on the ground right now. So he's definitely displeased with the situation. Either that or he needs to wee. I'm going to hope that he's not just like wandering through the prison just peeing everywhere. I mean, it wouldn't be the strangest thing that we've ever seen here in Splattermax, but it's definitely an unwelcome behavior. It's something we do not want to encourage. Let's get some more walls built though. So we need to start cordoning off things here. So let's grab our brick wall. And these have to be 3x3s, which is exactly how we're going to leave them. And part of me wants to make half of this a secure housing unit, and then make the other half maybe just normal jail cells. But then again, it puts me in kind of an awkward situation because I do need to keep expanding and growing. I don't really have a choice. And I don't think this is going to line up properly. So somebody at the end is getting an extra large jail cell, which luckily there's no kind of AI problems with that right now. That might be a little unfortunate. And what's going on with this room? It needs a bed, but nobody's moving a bed. Bed? So my prisoners are getting down. They're getting some food. These guys are saying they're bored. Let me take a look at my regime one last time because I don't remember. I have just been so caught up with school recently. So this nighttime feeding, they've got about an hour before bedtime. Hopefully they will relieve themselves of being bored before then. So, oops, don't want that. Let's close the regime off. And once I open this fence up, this is going to give us a bunch of space for our workshop. We're going to make a huge workshop, which is kind of cheating, but we need it, unfortunately. So it puts us in the strange situation where we're kind of going to have to exploit a little bit just to stay kind of in the black. So, oh good, they're all getting in a fist fight now. This dude literally just got out of the hospital, and he's already out here. And language, gentlemen, language. I'm going to cheer for this guy with the goatee and the afro. Although this guy with the do-rag... Oh, no, Beckwith's out. Nope, knocked out. So was I right? Oh, I was almost right. I was hoping... Actually, was he the last one restrained? I was right! If I was a betting man, I would have made money. Aston Lacey. He's 17. He's 17 years old, and he just whooped the living hell out of a bunch of career cons. So, last one restrained, last one out. Hopefully these kind of... I'm hoping these all get into place. Oh, we don't need that. Let's go ahead and we'll take objects. And I'm just going to cancel those lights so that nobody's running around trying to throw light bulbs in. We don't really need them anyways. The light bulbs tend to be... And there's light bulbs in my walls. It's kind of a sound engineering feat, but not too effective for radiating those light photons. So, unfortunately, I don't think those bulbs are going to do us a whole lot of good. But then again, they're not really... Oh, it's a box filled with lights. Okay, good. So we have boxes of lights. Hopefully those walls get built a little quicker. Let's speed up game time a tad. Free time, hopefully they get down here and do something with their time, for God's sakes. Because they all appear to be bored. They all made a beeline for the turlets, so... And why do you not have water? Hold on, let me look at my utilities here and figure out... Did I not send the pipe far enough, or has the pipe just not been built? Okay, it's queued, it just hasn't been built. Alright. So all things considered, Splattermax is really kind of... It's turning out okay right now. Things aren't looking too bad. Once we get this new cell block built, I think we'll be in better shape. And I may actually just have to call these cells. I don't know how I'm doing on cells that aren't being used at the moment. Like, I kind of wish that you could mouse over the cell and it would say who is imprisoned there so that you could keep track of everything on paper or just keep track mentally. I don't know how many extra cells I have right now. I can count them. I guess there's 10 there. There's 10 there's 20. I have 16 prisoners. So that means... I've got 4, so I can designate 4 of these and still be good. So maybe I'll make the final 4 holding cells, maybe. And I'll kind of put in another wall right there. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to grab some objects. And we're going to place those real fast. So we're going to designate the rooms, actually. We'll designate the rooms first. So there's a cell, and so forth down the line. And I suppose we'll leave these last ones for solitary. There we are. And an extra large solitary. What does solitary require? It just doesn't require anything. Okay. And then we are going to have to lay power down in this building, so we're going to have to do that. But let's get our beds in place first. Let's see here. Pause the game while I'm searching for beds so that horrible things aren't happening. There it is, the top left corner. Snake would have bit me. Just go down the line here, making our uniform little cells. We're going to need toilets. Luckily, toilets are cheap. There we are. And then, I think that's all we need, right? Bed and a toilet? Good. So bed and a toilet we have taken care of. And there's our federal grant. So we got $3,000 roughly, a little over $3,000. Which is not a lot. Actually, the income in this game is surprisingly low compared to games like SimCity and things like that, or Tropico. If you had the pleasure of watching me play Tropico, once everything's in place, this game likes to play it a little bit closer to the chest. They kind of make you stress a little bit more, which may actually be accurate because I think prison funding is probably is probably pretty low in most cases. So they are going to take these gentlemen over here. The solitary is already being used, but there's no doors. So let me put in solitary doors. God. I didn't think they would start using them without doors. And then the last thing we're going to need is some jail doors here for all these cells. And then from there, we should probably hold off on spending too much money because we really... The cash flow situation is not looking so bueno. It is looking definitely mall. So let me put in a door in between these two areas. Actually, let me make sure. I've done this before where I've put a door in and then the fence wasn't finished. And prisoners just ran off into the sunset. And God, they are getting rowdy. It is just noisy up here in Splattermax. Zoom out a little bit, but it is growing. The prison is getting larger. And sooner, what is that? Just like a floating number over there, just sitting in the corner. I don't know. Now, taking prisoners over here may be kind of bugging them, though. I don't know. Huh. Well, I may have to rebuild the infirmary. Who knows? Kind of strange situations occurring. They're going to put in a door right there. Once that door is in place, we can start construction down here, namely the workshop. Which with the workshop, hopefully we can make a couple $1,000s a day off of it because I feel like gameplay is really going to slow down. Hiring more doctors, yeah, and a psychologist. I'm a little antsy about that because I feel like paying his salary may, in the long run, kind of reduce the benefits of that $10,000 we're making. But if we get really desperate, we'll save some money so that we can do that real quick. Hire the psychologist and the extra doctor, get that extra 10K, and move on along. Now they want me to build 2 offices, and from what I've heard, accountants are actually worthless. I've heard from experienced players that you should never make accountants. They're just kind of, I don't know, they aren't any good. Now, we are going to need some extra objects in our free time in the yard, so let's grab some televisions, I think. I think the large TVs are bugged, so we'll put in some TVs here so that they can entertain their lovely convict selves. We'll take some chairs, I guess, and just like sit those in front of the TVs. They're just like out in the sun, I don't know. And then we're going to expand the yard out a little further in just a moment, and we'll put kind of these little cell areas where we can put a toilet in there, and then maybe like a little sleeping area over here just in case. Are you gentlemen, how much time do we have left here? We have 3 hours till people show up, so let's get some utilities running. Now, this is going to be expensive, but hopefully worth it. So what we'll do is we'll drag you down from there. And I have nightmares about my prisoners pulling the wiring out of the floor and then using it to like stab each other or create meth or whatever it is you do in prison. Now, it'd be pretty impressive if you could make meth out of electrical wiring. Definitely some miracles of copper. Let's see, some miracles of copper chemistry going on there. We do need to connect this pipe, unfortunately, which is going to be a little bit more expensive. And then once that's there, we can put in the small pipes, which are going to run to the toilet. So I've got everything paused at the moment, just so we don't end up with too many things happening at once, just so the world is not running all around us. And I think these were actually holding cells, so never mind. Those are just solitary. They can duke on the floor. And there we are. So everything's back up. And hopefully everything goes smoothly. Hopefully we get things done before our next little intake comes. If we don't, we've got 4 extra cells and a holding cell. So that's more than enough for 8 prisoners to be restrained. So now that we're placing some of these basic things down here in the bottom, we're really kind of beneath the knife at the moment. So hopefully the workshop will provide us with a reasonable amount of money. I think it was something like $5 per square or something that it occupies, and it's going to be a big workshop, no joke. I do want to make sure that we don't end up with any cash problems before we go too much further into this game, but continuous intake is definitely making me feel the burn. I'm not sweating bullets, I wouldn't say, but it's definitely a bit more tense. So let me go through here and we'll put in the last of our, actually, never mind, those utilities are already being put down, so that's good. And once these electrical wires are in place, we should be magically sufficient there. And this is going to give me, let me see here, 7 more, so that means I've got 3 extra cells, I think. I'm sorry, yeah, 3 extra shells. So we should be all right there. We've got about an hour till our next intake comes. That's probably where I'll break off the episode, is when this final intake comes through. And once we get to that point, I think we'll have to start looking into our long-term goals, which is basically becoming self-sufficient, self-sustaining, because as it stands right now, my expenditures are far, far higher than what I'm taking in as income. Now, the more prisoners we get, obviously, the more money we're going to get, and that last payout was all right. I think you get about $100 per prisoner, and then you get $1,500 no matter what. But we need to get the kind of money that's going to keep us constantly expanding, because that's really what this game type demands. This game type is really kind of forcing us into the box of constantly having something going on. You need to always have something being built, and there's not really a whole lot of space or time for anything in between. So the other thing that I'd like to address is we probably need to get the infirmary moved. The infirmary seems like it's not going to do very well in its current location because prisoners keep getting stuck back behind here, and while they can't die off of starvation or anything of that nature, it still feels a bit like an exploit to me that I can retain 5 to 6 prisoners at a time in this area and not have to deal with them. So we are getting some of these entertainment items taken care of in the yard, which is good. This gentleman's saying he's bored, which is unfortunate, but it's shower time, so they're all going to run in here and get nude and take baths, which is good because they're getting kind of smelly anyways. I was getting tired of sniffing them, and they're getting in a fist fight. And like I said, I think it's because they're all in such a tight, confined space. I think there's probably some kind of multiplier. Well, it's also because they're dealing with intake, too, I'd be willing to bet. My guards are all going to be in that area. Which brings me to my next point. We need to hire more guards. So let's get 2 more guards. There we are. We'll get them taken care of. And so now we have enough guards. You have 2 for every 8. So this is our 24 prisoners. So that means we're going to need, 6. So we've got enough. These guys have all beat each other practically to death. If they end up killing each other, no big deal. I don't know if anything bad happens when prisoners kill themselves off, but we're not going to worry about it right now. We don't actually physically have enough hospital beds for all these guys, so I'm assuming they're just going to drop them off back in their cells. This seems like as good a point as any to break off the episode. So my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at Splattermax. I mean, it's always more fun to play a game like this with people coming along for the ride, and I hope you'll choose to join me next time when we continue to expand and get our workshop taken care of. Until then, I'll see you next time.